So many ideas that you picked up today, tomorrow you can drop them. This is how the mind is. It's constantly changing. And it's not just psychological, physically too.
Physically, definitely.
Every morning when we wake up, in just a period of 24 hours, all the cells of the pancreas, there's not even a single cell that's left. It's all been regenerated. In a period of 7 years, all the cells of the body have been regenerated. There's not even a single cell that's left. So physically the body is always changing, mind is always changing, the world is always changing. This is just a simple law of nature. But the problem is that we're living all the time with this idea that certain things in our life are permanent. We're trying to pretend certain things are permanent when they're impermanent. And they're just as fragile as shifting suns. So the problem is that somehow in our mind there's still some doubt. There's still some doubt that perhaps things are not permanent. Things are permanent.
Definitely, nothing is permanent. I'm aware.
You maybe are aware of it intellectually, but this is an insight which has to strike so deep into you. It has to penetrate not just your intellect, because anything that's just intellectual is always very superficial. Intellectually you may talk about love, but to know what love is a very different experience. Intellectually you may talk about wisdom. You may read books written by many wise men, but that is not wisdom. Mm-hmm. Anything that's just on the surface, which is just intellectual, is always very superficial. So this is an insight which has to strike so deep into you in such a way that it becomes an intuitive understanding. It becomes a part of you. It is you. The teaching can't be separate from you. You have to become the teaching. So when you are the teaching, it floods your whole being. You are that. So if this is just, if it becomes a part of you, that 100% without even a shred of doubt, you don't even have to think about it. It's as natural as the bloodstream that's flowing through your body. If this insight becomes like that, then naturally you will be at ease with things. You will know that, yes, you can enjoy the pleasures that life has to offer. To me, to be involved in life without enjoying the pleasures of life is an empty life. What's the point? Are we here to live life, or are we here to be miserable in life? Nobody wants to live here while being miserable in life. Even a serial killer who's going around murdering people, maybe that's his chosen way of expression, but he's not doing it because of this idea that he wants to create more misery for himself. What he may achieve as a result, that's different. What we may achieve as a result of our actions, that's different. But nobody's acting in this world because he wants to manufacture more misery for himself. So, to me, to enjoy the pleasures of life, if you can enjoy the pleasures of life, but you're not getting entangled, then it's no problem. But the problem is we don't know how to get involved in the pleasures of life without getting entangled. We're so deeply identified, so deeply attached to so many million and one different things. We want to cling to so many things to give a certain security to our identity. This is actually the key. If you take care of this one problem, you'll find so many millions of other problems simply collapsing by themselves.
Just not to attach.
Just this fundamental problem that we are creating. We want to strengthen our identity out of the desire to protect, to create a certain wall of protection of ourselves. Because, from a very young age we learn that life can be dangerous business. If you don't protect yourself, there's a great chance that you'll be in pain, you will suffer. So from a very young age, in fact, this is what we learn even from the moment of birth, from the womb. The child comes out crying, and this is his very first exposure to the world, that, my God, I was in the comfort of my mother's womb, I was given all the nourishment I needed. And those 9 months, really, we don't remember it now, of course, because it's faded away from our memory, it's just locked in our unconscious. But you cannot imagine the state that we were in during those 9 months in the mother's womb. Such warmth, such silence, such peace, such calmness. All the nourishments that you ever needed were being supplied to you. And now suddenly this
You're on your own.
huge space of womb, this womb that became your home for 9 months, now it's forcing you out. And you come out and naturally the child doesn't want to leave. So he comes out screaming and crying, and now this is his first exposure to the world. Actually, to me, this is the first trauma every human being experiences. The trauma of leaving the womb of the mother. So you're born into the world. This is the first introduction to the world. That you're coming out screaming and crying and suffering. That memory is still there in our unconscious. And it carries on like a shadow throughout our whole life. That life is painful business. So from a very young age, we want to build a certain wall of protection. Which means what? We want stability. We want a certain amount of protection. We want certainty. But this goes against nature. It goes against the very way that the universe is, the very way that existence is. Nothing is certain in life. We don't know in which direction the stream is going to move even to the next moment. So the only thing that's in our hands is we can either live this moment consciously or unconsciously. If we live this moment consciously, then there's freedom. Doesn't matter what happens in the next moment. Even if a tragedy happens, there'll still be a certain silence within you which is unbreakable. There was once a very wise Chinese farmer. And one day, he was living in a farm, and one day one of his horses had run away.
Oh, okay.
So the neighbors who had heard about this, they came to the farmer and they said, "My God, this is so terrible. Your horse has run away. We don't know how you're going to manage." And the farmer said, they said, "This is so unfortunate." So the farmer said, "Maybe." So then the next day, the horse had come back and bringing with him 4 more wild horses. So again, the neighbors came back to the farmer and said, "My God, what's this? First the horse ran away, now he's come back and he brings with him 4 more wild horses. How fortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe." And then the next day, the son rode on one of the wild horses out into the forest. He lost control of the horse, he fell over and he broke his leg. The neighbors came back to the farmer, he said, "My God, what is this? Just because yesterday you've got 4 new wild horses, today your son has broken his leg. How unfortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe." And the following day, there were government officials going from door to door to recruit members to the army. They knocked on the door of the Chinese farmer. They said, "Okay, now it's time for your son to be initiated into the army." And the Chinese farmer told him, "Sorry, I cannot allow you to take him. Anyway, he's not fit to be taken because just yesterday he's broken his leg." And then he was exempted from joining the army. So the neighbors came again one last time to the farmer and said, "How fortunate, because now your son has broken his leg. Today he's exempted from joining the army. What a beautiful change of events." And the farmer said, "Maybe." So this is how life is. It's uncertain business, and we don't know which direction things are going to move even into the next moment. So the only thing that we have available in our hands is just this present moment. So what is it we're creating out of this present moment? This is going to determine everything about which direction we move in life. Because after all, what else is our life except a series of present moments? The past is gone forever. The future is always coming and it never arrives. So existence always gives us one moment at a time, one moment at a time. A downward spiral of present moments. But always it remains this one present moment. So if we just take care of that.
Wonderful. And regarding that story that the Chinese wise farmer, when he said maybe, so maybe when, let's say, somebody's bringing to his attention, look, there's a tragedy happening, he said maybe. He didn't take it tragedy as its face value. he didn't
Yes,
get
because
upset.
these are just appearances of things.
Exactly.
Things are always in a constant state of flux, and what may appear to be a blessing today can appear to be a tragedy tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
What may appear to be a tragedy today may
For the
become a
moment.
blessing tomorrow. But because we're prejudiced, we do not see this. We're always short-sighted, always jumping to conclusions.
What happened
Whatever
now?
we
Yeah.
consider unpleasant for us, we consider that unfortunate. Whatever is pleasant for us, we consider that fortunate. But really, what's pleasant or unpleasant has very little to do with what's helpful for our growth in life. Isn't it true? Many times what we find pleasant may actually be creating so many barriers and obstacles. And many times what we find unpleasant may actually help us to deepen our understanding. And naturally, being creatures of habit, the moment we take one step outside of our comfort zone, now fear arises. Just simply because it's different, it's unknown territory. So the fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty. So this is why when you become somebody who's really interested in inner exploration, you don't mind taking the risks and the dangers involved. You're consciously entering into the unknown. And that means you have to be willing to put yourself, it's bound to be uncomfortable. But that's part of the whole process. Not that it has to be a torture, not that it has to be uncomfortable. It's just that we are so deeply identified with our identity, about a certain lifestyle, we're so deeply conditioned that anything that's outside of that conditioning, there's very strong resistance. So this is all that yoga is trying to do. It's just trying to loosen your personality up. Just to loosen your personality up so that you can be more receptive and allow other dimensions of life to happen. But we don't allow it.
Yeah.
Really, what else is preventing us? Nothing. Just a question of, will you allow it to happen? Will you allow this moment will you allow yourself to enter into deeper silence into this present moment?